You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hi there. You're listening to episode 71 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Welcome to episode 71 of the Soul Forge podcast. It's Sean.
And it's Jason.
What are we here to do?
We're here to record our podcast.
About, as if they couldn't tell from the title,
Weed, drugs.
and other love. No. How's that go? Love and Other Drugs. That's the movie that I'm
Love and
thinking
other
of.
drugs, yes.
Yes. Yeah. So, Weed, Love and Other Drugs. Didn't sound like a good enough title,
No.
but we'd love to talk.
We'd love to talk.
There you go. So, why are we recording this? Well, we're recording it on the eve of Cannabis Canada, because today is October the 16th, but October 17th, which was yesterday as this episode is released, cannabis became legal in Canada. And what do you think about that, mister?
I'm not sure whether to be excited or not, because
You're not a weed guy?
I'm not a weed guy.
You know what we should have had for this podcast? Somebody who was a big pothead to give their perspective.
Yes, I agree.
I don't
know anybody that's a big pothead, other than... No.
I don't know a lot.
No.
Like, I know people who dabble, but I don't know any big-time druggies, I guess.
Well, I know a couple, but they don't even live in town, so
Okay.
getting them on would be difficult.
Yeah, and I don't really travel in those circles, so...
And to be honest with you, at this point, I don't know anybody who'd be willing to do it. It's not legal yet.
Not yet, but it will be.
It's incriminating until tomorrow, or yesterday.
As the case may be. It's confusing, right? Because it's like we're doing the magic of time travel, because this comes out Thursday, but right now it's Tuesday, and Wednesday it becomes legal, and you'd think we're high right now, too, because we're not...
I was just thinking the same thing.
We're not really sure where we are in space and time.
What have you been smoking?
Nothing, actually. Maybe I need to start.
I think so.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea.
I think that would be a very awkward episode podcast recording time if we were both high.
Well, I have done several drunk episodes of Rusted Robot Podcast.
I haven't heard one of those yet, but I'm looking forward.
Those are fun. I usually do those with my buddy Frank when he comes up, or I go to North Bay to see him. So.
All right.
But this is not an advertisement for the Rusted Robot Podcast, although if you're not listening to it, you should be.
I am.
I know. I'm just talking to our listeners in general.
Okay, then.
Yeah. So roll a doobie and listen to the Rusted Robot. I guess. That's what they're called, right? Doobies?
I think so.
I so don't.
Joint.
Yeah. Spliff. It's the Chronic.
Blunt.
I don't know if that's one.
Yeah.
Is it one?
Blunt.
Yeah. See, I don't even know.
It's been so long. I don't know.
Okay. Let's talk about some legal stuff before we get...
Yes, let's get to the legal disclaimers.
So, first of all, as of this recording, the Soul Forge podcast does not endorse taking any drugs, legal or otherwise. Well, sure, you do what you want. We're not your boss. I'm just here to guide you in the adventures of living. You heard the opening introduction.
Yes.
So, all right. So, according to...
Are you sure we haven't been smoking anything? Because we got the giggles.
There might be something in the air.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's in the coffee.
The coffee smells really good. But we're recording late on a Tuesday night, and I don't want to have coffee to keep me up. But coffee relaxes you, and coffee is a drug, so to speak.
Caffeine.
Yes, sir. So minimum age will be 19. You will need to be 19 and older to buy, use, possess, and grow recreational cannabis. And my words are just all jumbled. I might have been smoking something. This is the same as the minimum age for the sale of tobacco and alcohol in Ontario. But where to use it? The government has proposed legislation that, if passed, would provide the following rules for using cannabis, both medical and recreational. Where could you smoke and vape it? In private residences. But this does not include residents that are also workplaces, such as long-term or retirement homes.
Long-term care, yeah.
Long-term care. You can smoke it in many outdoor public places, such as sidewalks and parks. You can do it in designated guest rooms in hotels, motels, and inns. Residential vehicles and boats that meet certain criteria, such as have permanent sleeping accommodations and cooking facilities and are parked or anchored. You can do it in scientific research and testing facilities, in controlled areas, such as long-term care homes, certain retirement homes, residential hospices, provincially funded supportive housing, designated psychiatric facilities, or veterans facilities. But where can't you use it, Jay?
Where can't you use it?
Yeah.
Indoor common areas like condos, apartment buildings, university college residences. Enclosed public places and enclosed workplaces. Non-designated guest rooms in hotels, motels, and inns.
Also, apparently, they don't want you to use it in schools or places where children gather.
Well, I sure as heck hope not.
Right?
You know, the fact that that has to be in the legal legislation is almost sad.
You would not be able to consume cannabis, smoking, vaping, or eating it in a vehicle or boat that is being driven or is at risk of being put into motion.
So basically stating the same thing as if you're driving or you're drinking, sorry.
Yeah.
If you have an alcoholic beverage in your hand and you are inside of a vehicle possessing the keys to that vehicle, you could be charged.
That's bad news.
That is bad news.
Don't do that.
No.
Let's see. Also, you would not be able to smoke or vape it in restaurants and bar patios and public areas within 9 meters of a patio, just like smoking is now.
Yep.
Okay.
So there looks like they're sticking in with the pretty generic rules of smoking.
Yep.
In general.
Using cannabis and driving is illegal and dangerous. So you'll.
Well, being a truck driver, I sure as heck hope so.
Yes, you could face.
Because I deal with enough drunken idiots on the road now. I don't want to have to deal with the ones that are high.
No. You could face an immediate license suspension, financial penalties, possible vehicle impoundment, possible criminal record, and possible jail time. And there is zero tolerance for young, novice, and commercial drivers, such as yourself.
Yes, and generally speaking, commercial drivers have random drug tests, so we're not even allowed to do it, even if it is legal. But I don't agree with that. If we go back up there, Sean.
Yeah.
Possible. I don't like that word when it comes to the laws, possible. There should be no possible. It should be
Cut and dried?
cut and dry, you're going to get jail time.
Yeah.
Or cut and dry, you're going to have financial penalties. If you're driving while you're high, it should instantly be vehicle impoundment. You want to be dumb? You should lose your car.
Exactly.
Make people learn.
Yeah.
Not possibly.
So, where can you buy recreational cannabis? When it's legal, people 19 and over will be able to purchase cannabis online through the Ontario Cannabis Store, and there's a handy link right on the page.
Virtual cannabis online.
Let's see. Customers will be required to verify their age to accept delivery, and no packages will be left unattended at the door. And that applies to me because I'm a mailman. And as it stands now, I deliver quite a bit of it in the illegal varieties and the medicinal varieties.
And how does that make you feel?
It's just another parcel I have to carry
Oh, okay. So
and
it's
get a
not
signature
like-
for, and they're never home.
So there's no special package handling procedures when it comes to that?
There will be now. Anything that smells or has pot leaves on it or any kind of advertisement will not be accepted in the mail stream because, and we had a meeting on it today at work, if somebody comes along and sees that you have a parcel with some, like advertisement on it, they could stick you up at gunpoint or knife point or beat you up for your stuff. Our rule is to just hand it over because our lives are more important than the mail.
Yep.
So I agree with that. Here, take the flyers too and deliver them because I don't want to do it.
So if I'm a distributor,
Yeah.
and I want to mail it to you, I'm not allowed to put anything on the package in any shape or form
That indicates-
that indicates that there is marijuana inside that package.
Precisely.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good to know.
So as of October 17th, the Ontario Cannabis Store website will be the only legal option for purchasing recreational cannabis. It will follow strict rules set by the federal government. You will be able to have a maximum of 30 grams or about 1 ounce of dried cannabis in public at any time. You will be able to grow up to 4 plants per residence, not per person. And Ontario currently has strict rules in place to make sure the workplaces are safe. Consuming recreational cannabis in the workplace is illegal and will continue to be after the legalization.
Thank God.
Yep, so you can't
Can't do it
smoke
while
up-
you're working.
Can't smoke up while you're working. Although some people do it anyway, as it is. But that's all that. other stuff.
Yes, sadly, you can smell it when you walk around certain people's job sites.
I smell it all day long.
Especially in the summertime.
Especially in the summertime. As a mailman, it's all I smell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes it's a pleasant smell, sometimes it's not. It all depends. But I'm always hearing people coughing, so I know what's going on.
Well, that could be people that are also smokers.
Could-
I'm a former smoker. I quit smoking, and
could
that's
be.
what I smell.
Yeah, but you know what? A pot cough or a weed cough is different than a smoker cough.
Really?
It's a little bit different. You can tell.
Right. I'm
'Cause
going to have to look into that.
Because usually there's a giggle involved.
Oh, that's true.
So,
Yeah.
you know.
If you want to go, okay, yeah.
Not that I'm a huge expert on any of this stuff, but that's the legal stuff.
That's the gist of it.
That's the gist of it.
Hi, I'm Joe Heath,
And I'm Tony Heath,
and we have a sneaking suspicion that you don't actually listen to these promos.
so we're not going to make you listen to one.
Bye! Brought to you by the Watchathon and Rassalon, a podcast where Joe and Tony watch all of Doctor Who and then talk to you about it.
Available on the ESO network or wherever else you get podcasts from.
But honestly, where else would you go?
WatchYourAslan.com.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Let's talk about some personal experiences
Oh.
with weed or pot or chronic or did they call it dope or is that heroin?
I think that, yeah.
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
dope is included in there.
Yeah,
Chronic dope. I don't know.
the devil's lettuce.
The devil's lettuce?
Yeah.
Oh my lord, I haven't heard that in forever.
That's what Whit called it on one of our episodes.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he was talking about how he finally had sex for the first time.
Yes, the
And-
follow episode. Yep, thank
Yeah,
you. I
and-
do remember that now.
And he said something about the devil's lettuce, and I didn't know what he was talking about. I had to look it up online after. I'm like, oh, okay.
I remember listening to that episode, and I don't think I had to look it up, but I kind of got it afterwards. It took me about, I'd say, a good hour to clue in to what he meant by the devil's lettuce.
Yeah, I'd never heard that before. So
Me, I've heard it, but a very long time ago.
okay. Well, as it stands, when I was in high school, that's all the kids talked about. They were either going to put acid on their eyes, or they were going to smoke up on the weekend, or whatever they were going to do.
Go out and smoke a doobie,
I don't know if that's what they said, but they probably did.
or a joint, whatever you want to call it.
I
Yeah.
think joint is the cool term.
I think the one that stuck out in my head was doobie,
Yeah,
because it just sounds dumb.
it does. I guess
A doob.
the Doobie Brothers.
Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
No, let's not go there.
No.
I can't insult them.
Okay.
That's just
All right,
wrong.
we'll leave that where it is.
All right.
Okay, moving right along. I was very opposed to drugs as a child because my stepdad Cannon, you know him.
Oh, yes.
I told you
Yep.
about him.
Yes. you
Okay.
have.
He was, I don't know if he was a drug dealer per se, but he was all into it, and he used to leave us in the car while he went and smoked up with his buddies.
Or on sleds.
Or on sleds with my other brother, yeah. But it wasn't till years later that I knew what he was doing. But there was one time I was in the bathroom and I was looking on top of the medicine chest for some reason, and there was these little vials, and it turns out it was hash oil.
Really?
Yes, but and I said I found these things on top of the medicine chest, and my mom was like, "Oh, those must have been there from whoever lived here before." But I had looked on the medicine chest in the past, and they were never there.
Ah, okay.
And so, of course, Cannon was all upset. Why were you looking on the medicine chest? What's going on? You know, in his biker Cannon voice. So anyway, they just fluffed it off, and it wasn't until years later that I realized what it was and all that good stuff. But he was always doing it and selling it and buying it, and apparently one time there was $30,000 in cash in our freezer that he was holding for somebody.
Really?
I didn't know about that till years later, but
That would have been good to know when it was happening.
yeah, I could have snuck some.
Could have walked. That could have been your way out.
Yeah, right? Exactly. But basically, because I knew what he was into, I was very opposed to it. And I never wanted to do it because I didn't want to be anything like him.
Naturally.
So he was all
I could see
into motorbikes and football and westerns and the drugs and just stupid stuff. So
Naturally, growing up, you put that into being all tied in together, the drugs and the biker attitude, and you didn't want to be that.
I didn't want to be him at all. I didn't want to be anything like that guy.
Understandable.
So I think my adversity or my not liking sports came from him, because anything he liked, I didn't.
I can see that.
Same with Westerns, but I've grown to appreciate Westerns over the years.
Yep.
So
Yep. My father was a Western watcher back in the day when I was knee-high to a grasshopper.
I think all the old guys were.
Yeah.
It was a thing. But anyway, the main point of the story is whatever he was into, I wasn't.
Yep.
So I was like, you know what? No, I'm
If
never.
he was into it, you were not.
I
and
was
that's
not.
the way it was.
That's the way it was. I'm never going to do drugs. I'm never going to touch that stuff. I'm not going to associate with people who do. All that, whatever. But of course, in university.
Peer pressure.
No, actually,
Nothing like that.
Nothing like that. In university, lots of people did it. When I worked at Teletech in my early 20s, people were doing it. I think we sat in my car in Hotbox, and I just sat there and didn't try any of it. I dated a girl in.
Hotboxed your car.
I think it was my car. Yeah.
You think it was your car? Well, yeah. If you were in the car,
we-
you do. By the time you were done, you wouldn't know if it was your car.
Well, we
or
were
not.
at my house,
Oh, okay.
but I can't remember if we were sitting in my car or somebody else's car.
Oh, okay.
That's too long ago. And then a girl I was dating for a time, she was into it, and I was like, you know what? How old was I? I was 23 or something maybe. I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't mind trying that. And she's like, nope, I'm not going to let you try it. It's not good for you. And no, I'm just not. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then I never did. In years past, and finally, when I was 30 years old, I was in a gathering at a
30.
30.
Okay.
That was the first time I tried it. I've only ever tried a little bit of weed, nothing else. I've always wanted to try hash brownies or whatever the heck people make, right?
Cookies and brownies.
Cookies and brownies and mushrooms I've wanted to try. I've never come across any of that stuff. And people say, yeah, you have to book off your whole day because you're going to be right messed. But anyway, they passed the joint around when I was 30, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. And they said, don't take too much. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't think...
You got the warning, though.
I got the warning.
I didn't.
Well,
I'll tell you that
the
after.
second time I tried it, I pulled a whitey because I took too much.
Okay.
I pulled a whitey, as they call it. I'm like, what the heck do you mean? But, I'm going to puke. Okay, I get it. But the first time, I just sat on the couch, and it felt like my head was floating like a balloon.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I've tried it a few more times since then, but I don't feel like I smoke properly, and I'm not getting it where it needs to go to really affect me.
Okay.
I think I get affected a little bit, of course, because my head floats, or it feels like it's just moving sideways off my body or something.
You feel like giggling?
Yeah, and I get hungry.
Yeah.
But
then from what my experience was, you got it fully affected.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But for the most part, I don't think I do it right, but maybe I do. I'm not a smoker, though, so I don't have that natural inclination to know what it feels like to inhale whatever I'm inhaling.
I'm trying to match your feelings back to the first time I tried it. I was 17. I can't remember that time. I really honestly can't back that far. I can't remember my first time trying it. But I can remember the last time I tried it.
How long ago was that?
Well, what are we, 2018 now? 2018, 15 years ago?
Oh, so a while.
Yeah, about 15 years ago.
Okay. And what do you remember from that experience?
I couldn't feel my legs.
Oh.
Oh, wait, never mind. No, the last time... Actually, I lied. My bad. The last time I tried it was about 5 years ago.
Ah, okay.
And that's... Yeah. I still didn't... I did too much. I pulled a whitey.
You pulled a whitey.
I was puking like a champ.
I never puked, but I remember one time I tried it, and I had too much, and I stood outside for what felt like a good 45 minutes, just wobbling back and forth, feeling like I was going to vomit, but I never did.
The last time, actually, okay, you just reminded me of the exact last time. I was sitting in a friend's apartment.
Yesterday. It was yesterday, right?
No.
Okay.
No. This was about 5 years ago. 6 years ago. Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Sitting in a friend's apartment, passing it around. And I sat down for what felt like a couple of hours, but it turned out it was like 5 minutes. And my wife said I just disappeared in the bathroom and I was puking for about an hour.
Ooh, that's a long time.
Yeah, something like that. And the time before that was with my now ex-girlfriend, and I couldn't feel my legs. I literally was, and I made the stupid mistake. She got her friend to light everything up, and we were passing around. I got so high, I don't even remember getting into the car.
Oh boy.
Or my truck.
Yeah.
And I started driving, and we were I remember this. I was driving her home. I was scared shitless because I couldn't feel my legs. At one point, I just said, I can't do this. I'm pulling over. I fell asleep for 3 hours.
With her in the truck.
With her sitting in the passenger seat.
Nice.
I slept for 3 hours. I eventually woke up and was like, how long have I been sleeping? She goes, you've been sleeping for about 3 hours. And I need to go home. And I'm like, well, sorry, you did this to me.
So she got what was coming to her.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm not against it 100%. I won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you do it, all the power to you. But I won't do it.
Yeah, I'm not against it like I was in the Canon era.
Yeah, I could see why.
Because at 30 years old, I was like, you know what? I don't have to be restricted by my childhood because of my thoughts and loathing for that guy.
Okay.
You know, I'm 30 years old. I'm an adult. I can do what I want. It's here to try. I'll give it a shot.
If you're loving this podcast, you should tell a friend about it.
Spread the word about podcasts you think they would enjoy. There's something for everyone, from entertainment and lifestyle
To news and politics,
and more. Share it on social media. Believe it or not, some people don't know how great podcasts are.
or even how to find and listen to them.
You can help change that with a click. Tell your friends about your favorite podcast.
Thanks for spreading the word.
Now, Cannon was your stepdad.
Yeah.
Now, was there anybody else in your family that was a drug user?
Yeah, actually, my mom's youngest brother, my Uncle Rob,
Okay.
he was into it, actually with Canon. They would smoke up together.
Oh, okay.
He showed me his bong that he made out of a pop bottle.
A pop bottle.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's yeah. I've seen it done.
Like one of those glass bottles.
Oh, okay.
Like from back in the day.
Like the glass. Okay.
Yeah, like
I haven't seen one done out of a glass bottle though. I've seen them done they call it, what is it, the bong.
The bong. Yeah.
With the water in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've tried it because I've dated people who've had them, or friends have had them, or somehow I've tried them. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand how it works.
What gets me is how some of the shops that you go into, even now,
Yeah.
or up until now that it hasn't been legal,
Mm-hmm.
have things that look like bongs,
I think they are bongs.
but they call them
Something else, yeah.
They use them. The use for them is tobacco.
Smoking paraphernalia.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Tobacco smoking paraphernalia.
Yes.
How people think that we're dumb.
No, they know exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows. It's an open secret.
Yeah, is it open? Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Open secret. Like
Just
they think they
call-
can keep it from us.
Call it something else, and
Yeah. So you had an Uncle Rob that did it with Canon.
yeah.
Okay,
And there was maybe other people.
but you weren't aware.
Well,
Not as open.
not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had two uncles. Both now are deceased. Heavily into drugs, not just marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
They were into everything else. Alcoholics. That's kind of how I got to know what it was.
Yeah, makes sense.
I watched my uncles grow up, and I watched my uncles die, and that's part of the reason
Why you don't do it?
I don't do it.
I gotcha.
That's my reason. Pretty much the same as yours. I didn't want to be like them.
Right. And every time I've tried it, which may be less than like a dozen times, it just doesn't feel right, and I still have that slight, not stigma isn't the right word, but just that feeling, like it's a canon feeling, and I don't like it. So I've never really embraced it or enjoyed it, and I just can't relax, I guess, into it.
Yeah. You know what? Like, I mean, I feel the same. I can't get into it. I've tried it. I don't even think I can't count on one hand how many times I've tried it.
See, I think
And
with
it's just not right.
childhood...
I don't like the feeling. The munchies scare me. Sorry.
Yeah.
The munchies scare me. I'm a fat guy. Okay? You can't do that to me.
Yeah. But what I was saying was I think your childhood can affect you, and does affect you, right into your later life.
Oh,
You're what?
for sure.
36, right?
Yeah.
I'm 42. I don't care for it, and it would be nice, because I see people do it, and they talk
Mm-hmm.
about it, and I'm like, oh, do it just as soon as I get
Well,
home.
everybody has their own...
Relax mode, routine.
Yeah, everybody has their own relaxation routine or whatever they want to do, however they got into it. They got their own reasons for doing it.
Yeah.
I kind of don't blame my uncles for why they do it, why they were heavily into the drugs and the alcohol. I mean, I won't divulge into the reasons why, but everybody has their own reasons.
Well, that's right.
Cannon probably had his own reasons.
We'll just go with traumatic childhood, or you liked it. I don't know.
There you go.
He's not around.
My
to ask him.
uncles was traumatic childhood. And because of that, they taught me. In all honesty, you should be almost kind of thankful to Canon for teaching you what not to do.
Yeah.
Same with me. I'm thankful for my uncles showing me the stuff that I didn't want to do.
There you go.
Because who knows what would happen if I didn't have that influence in my life.
And some people, they aren't affected by these childhood things. And,
Oh.
and they can just do it. And that's how the whole 420 thing came into it. Because because work ends at 4 o'clock, you go home, it takes 20 minutes to get there, you smoke up, and you relax for the evening. So it's 420. I'm like, that's why everybody's talking about 420.
When that first came out, I was the idiot that didn't know what was going on.
I had no idea.
Everybody was mentioning 420, and I eventually just asked a friend, like, what do they mean by 420? And I had to have a friend explain it to me. He goes, you didn't know that? And I'm like, no, because I don't do the crap. I don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't associate myself with it. So 420 means nothing to me. 420 means I'm 40 minutes away from going home.
There you go.
It's punch-out time.
Nice. Yeah. But then, of course, I guess the Cancer Society or somebody just admitted that, yes, marijuana does kill cancer. It's good for your fibromyalgia. It's good for pain. So it does have its uses. It's a very natural substance, so it's not bad.
So I've learned
Mm-hmm.
recently, yes.
Yeah. So I'm not against it. Just don't do it while you're driving, I guess.
Nope.
Or when you're around kids. Or operating heavy machinery, I suppose.
That is definitely a big no-no.
Right.
You know what? Remembering back to my feeling, I wouldn't want to.
No.
Nothing about slamming an excavator off your buddy's head because you're high.
Right.
It ever sounds appealing.
That doesn't sound good.
No.
No, so the way I see it, and probably the way you see it, is people should do whatever the heck they want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else.
Agreed.
I'm pretty much open to anything.
My outlook on it has changed. I'll be honest. Since it became more out in the open that it did, of its medical benefits.
Yeah.
I've changed my outlook on it. Mm-hmm. I'm not against it. At one point in time, I was hell bent against it.
Oh, me too.
You don't bring it near me. You don't bring it in my house. You don't know.
Yeah.
And as I got growing along, realized its medical benefits, I kind of backed off a little bit. But where was I going with this?
Just that we're not against it.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
Live and let live.
Exactly.
Just don't hurt anybody.
Peace, love, and no war, man.
Peace, love, and rock and roll.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. What did Meatloaf say?
Now you're gonna get me into that, are you?
Sex and drugs and rock and roll, but it was sex and drums and rock and roll, I think.
Sex, drums, and rock and roll.
Because he didn't want to promote drugs.
Yes.
Even though everybody did them.
I think that's how
something. I think that's
something like that.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not a historian of music.
And
I don't really know anything about the topic that we discussed other than my anecdotes and what I read online there and from people and stuff. So I'm no expert. I'm just here to be your guide, like I said, and Jason is my helper as we guide you through the adventures of living this week. And
of course.
And all this good stuff that we now know. That's it. That's all I got. You have anything else to say?
No.
I don't think we have to do any warnings because people know the legal ramifications of stuff. That's all there is to it.
So to wrap up, don't do it when you're driving.
Yep.
Don't do it when you're working.
Yep.
And don't do it around children.
Yep.
And you should be okay.
You should be okay. That's it. That's all we have for this week's episode of the Soul Forge podcast. Thanks for stopping by. Stick around for the new end credit themes. And remember, sadly, sometimes it's too late. And that's the thing about time. We cannot get it back. This has been another episode of the Soul Forge podcast. Find us on Twitter at SoulForgePod or email the show via soulforgepodcast@gmail.com. Soul Forge is a production of Sean Vanderloo and Friends. You can find Sean on Twitter and Instagram at Darth Vaderloo. Remember to visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links and share the show with everyone you know. Thanks for stopping by the Forge. We'll keep the fires lit until your next visit.
So I wanted to remind you once again that you can listen to this show and other podcasts on Spotify. And now it's easier than ever. Just open the app on your mobile device or desktop, click on Browse, and then click on the podcast section. It works on your computer, your phone, your smart speaker system, whatever you want to use. So stay connected to your favorite podcasts and never miss an episode using Spotify.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic Store. which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.